Greetings and welcome to MAT 135, Graphic Design 1, the Principles of Graphic Design. I'm Jeff Ulick. I'm the Department Chair of Media Arts and Technologies here at MiraCosta College, and I'm going to be your teacher for the semester. So when we talk about graphic design, really what is graphic design? I mean, there's a lot of different ways that graphic design is implemented, right? I mean, we see it in print, right? In magazine advertising, in newspapers, book covers, billboards, posters, and so on, brochures, flyers, catalogs, annual reports. You know, it goes on and on and on. Graphic design is the tool or is the craft that puts all of these, all of this information, all of this content into an accessible vehicle that is appealing to the market, to the person that it's designed to reach. So if we think about that relationship, we're graphic designers, right? And our job is to get someone's message, turn it into something that's accessible, and have it be accessible to a target market. Okay? That's the path. Okay? We have a client. The client's got a message. The client needs to get the message to the target market. We're in the middle. We create a filter. We create the media that allows that message to meet the market. So how does this work exactly? So let me just say something straight up off the bat. Even though graphic design is creative, graphic design is not art. Art is where you have an inner vision, you have an inner message, you've got some kind of burning desire to create something that's inside of you that you want to tell to the world. It's a little inside story, if you will. Okay, so graphic designers, we don't have an inner vision. It's not our story. It's not the burning thing inside of us that we're trying to get out. We're taking a client's message and we're delivering it to a target market. Okay, so say you're a painter, you know, and you have this, and you really are an artist, you know, and you want to create, and you're like, and you think, you know what, being an artist could be hard. I'm going to have to paint a lot, and it's going to have to be good, and I'll have to find galleries where I can hang my work, and people are going to have to come to see my work, and they're going to have to like it, and they're going to have to like it enough to shell out some money to buy my work. And I could be hungry. You know, if you think about that, it's a hard way to make a living. And so if you're one of those people and you go, wow, gee, maybe I'll do graphic design instead. And that way at least I'll be able to make some money and I can be creative as well. Chances are you're going to be frustrated. And the reason why is because you're always going to have your own idea of what's the right answer. And in the end, you may not be solving the client's need. And the client may go, you know what? You might like purple, but I hate purple. And so I don't care if you want to make it purple. I'm not paying for it if you make it purple. You know, and you're like, but purple's a great color. And the client's like, I'm sorry. So you have to, you will always be subjugating your own inner vision to meet the client's needs. And many artists who become graphic designers are constantly frustrated by that relationship. But as graphic designers, we are never frustrated by that relationship because we don't really care to say something to the world. We don't have a reason for being. We're here because we want to make something look really cool so that a target market will respond to that. So as designers, we take that client's message and we, using the tools that you'll learn in this class, color, form, concepts of 2D design, typography, layout, structure, we will use all of these visual tools. We'll create something that is going to appeal to that market, and the market is then going to respond in some way. So let's talk about that, creating the vehicle, because that's really what this class is about. We don't have real clients yet. You know, I'm going to set parameters that are client-like, but in the end, this is still school, and so I don't want to put a ton of restrictions on your ability to learn how to be creative with these tools, because you're going to have plenty of time to have restrictions, more than you'd ever want sometimes. Sometimes you feel like you're designing inside of a box. That happens from time to time. But the best designers are the ones that learn how to use that box and think outside the box. Oh, I just thought of that. Wasn't that great? Anyway, so I'm going to teach you how to use your skill sets to create interesting communication vehicles. So, as designers then, how do we make that vehicle happen? Ideally, what's going to happen is the client's message is going to be targeted towards a target market. Now, the target market is a demographic, right? A demographic is a definition of a group of people, and that definition can be singular or it can have multiple facets. For example, it could be affluent males over 60. Okay, that's a different demographic than, teenage girls who live on the West Coast. Okay, different market, right? If I'm selling Mercedes-Benz, chances are I'm not going to be talking to the teenage girl who lives on the West Coast. I'm going to be selling them, a Scion or a Neon or something like that. The Mercedes-Benz is going to be sold to the 60-year-old guy who is affluent. Okay, so we think about how we define demographics: location, age, gender, income brackets, sociological backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, whatever. There's a number of different ways that we can think about that. But the client's message is something that they're going to say, I need to get this message to this group of people. How can I best do that? That's where the designer comes in. The designer decides what the format's going to be. They decide what the color scheme is going to be, what the type is going to look like, what the fonts are going to be used, how the layout is going to be designed, if there's going to be structure or not, and all the other different variables. And these are the tools that we are going to learn. Now, as we begin to design that, something has to happen, right? In other words, if I've designed something to meet a certain demographic requirement, first of all, I need to get their attention, right? That's the very first thing that has to happen. If we don't get their attention, then the rest of it is nothing's going to happen. It's why commercials get louder. When you're watching TV and a commercial pops on and it's 3 or 4 decibels louder, that's one way to get attention. Sometimes, it's the editing or it's the jump cuts or something. If you look in a magazine, what's the thing that jumps out? Is it the image? Is it the treatment of the image? Is it some bold typography? What is it that grabs your attention? There's always something that grabs your attention. It's called the hook. So depending on the demographic, that hook is going to be different. But there's always a hook, something that goes, hey, look at this. So then once you got their attention, what happens, right? Now that you've got to have enough interest in the content so that they actually read through or look at or watch or whatever they have to do in order to absorb the information. So it has to be good enough that it holds their attention through that entire absorption process. And then at the very end, it has to mean something to them to the point where they are going to do something. It's called call to action. And that call to action could be pick up the phone, it could be go to a website, it could be send money, it could be, whatever that call to action happens to be. So get their attention, make it interesting enough that it holds their attention so that they can absorb the content, and make it compelling enough that they actually do something at the end of it. That's the 3 jobs the designer has to do, and we use type and color and form and contrast and all of the other cool things that we're going to learn to make that happen. So that's graphic design in a nutshell, and that's what we're going to learn over the course of the semester. So in the end, there's only one real requirement here, and that is that it should be fun. This class should be fun for you. If you find that it's not fun, then maybe you're not in the right field and maybe you should be thinking about something else. But everything that we do here, even though it's a lot of work, even though it's going to take a lot of time, it should always be fun, okay? Because if it's not fun, then what's the point? So be ready to work hard, be ready to experiment and be creative, get ready to get yourself out of your comfort zone, get ready to become something more than you've been, and get ready to have some fun. And so that's the whole deal on this whole semester. And the other cool thing about taking the class online, one really great advantage you have over all the kids who have to take this on ground, is that you can drink coffee while you're in class. So there you are, kids. Let's have some fun.